Welcome everyone to the 2017 International Racquetball Federation Junior World Championships. We are at Lifetime Fitness in Minneapolis. And this is the first time that the IRF Junior World Championships has been held in the United States since 2012, you said, right, Tim?
That's right, Los Angeles 2012. It moves around a lot, the juniors, as does many of the International Racquetball Federation events. The one we're looking forward to next year, of course, is China. It was announced that that will be in August next summer. So excited to go to a new country which has never seen the sport before, never been exposed to the sport before. And we had a delegation here from China preparing for that, going through some of the logistics.
Yeah, and they've been building courts and getting everything prepared over there, so that's very exciting. You can see both teams out there taking a quick picture before this match kicks off.
So we have Holly Scott on the left.
For
you
USA.
See her, she's doing the most muscular pose to her friends in the glass. And Carver is on the right. And in the back, we've got Munoz on the left. He's looking for the mic, our official, John Halco.
I'm digging the uniforms from both teams. We have Ecuador kind of in the all black, setting like a very serious tone. Or they're navy blue, sorry for Team Ecuador's colors. And then USA with those flag shorts.
Sarmiento is playing the forehand. She just played a match that was a tiebreaker loss.
Back to back.
Yeah, we'll see how she handles that. Same thing with Scott. She had a tiebreaker loss earlier in the day. You saw that against Barrios, the raw talent from Bolivia. So young, playing two divisions, losing the first and then claiming the second and tiebreaker. So two of these players might be a little fatigued. We'll see how they handle it. You can see a nice purple spot on Munoz's leg. She must have been hit earlier in the week.
And we saw Sarmiento, though, taking a couple hits in her previous match in the 16 girls doubles. She's going to have a couple purple spots tomorrow.
We're going to see a different match to the one we just saw. The quality's going to go up a lot, I suspect. Of course, I say that, and then there's a poor shot from Carver on the right. I've watched the U.S. team play already, and you will see Holly Scott taking most of the shots, just like we saw Jaquette taking most of the shots in the round or the 16s we just saw. Ecuador, we'll see how this goes. Sarmiento is the younger player. Munoz is older. But these two have played together a lot, and we'll see how they actually work together. We see them a lot, for example, at the Pan Am Championships competing in an age group.
Yeah, that was an interesting point that you brought up earlier, that Ecuador tends to send some of their younger teams to those bigger adult events, and I like that, really getting the juniors involved, giving them some extra experience, and putting them up against more experienced players who have already played usually in this junior world arena.
Well, somewhere like the Pan Am's, terrific serve there from Ecuador. 2-0 is the score. They actually play, they have their own age groups. So they have the main draw for the adults, and then a lot of these juniors play in a 14, a 16s, just like they do at the Junior Worlds, so it's preparation for these World Juniors. Flip side, some of these athletes end up playing for their national team as well if they don't have players that are better than these. And we talked about Gabby Martinez earlier today, who was playing for Guatemala at the World Championships at the age of 12, which is just unreal if you think about it. Miscommunication between the Ecuador pair. Fist pump from Holly Scott. She seems to be enjoying herself right now.
Yeah, I like her energy. We saw her playing singles earlier today on the broadcast. And I like her energy. I like her court awareness. Loving that fist pump.
That's a great shot from Munoz, the younger sister of Maria Paz Munoz, the adult member of the Ecuador national team and also a professional player herself. Serving 2.
Oh, and a skip from Sarmiento.
And the reason you heard that skip is because Munoz called for it. Mia, mine. And Sarmiento took it. And so there was just a little bit of confusion. So I said that it would be interesting to see how these two work together. And again, you can see there's a little bit of miscommunication between the pair. What you're seeing is 2 different formations here, Laura. You're seeing Carver and Scott playing traditional, one on one side, one on the other. They do, go front to back a little bit, but the Ecuadorian pair, Munoz seems to be playing in the back. Sarmiento is trying to move forward and control the middle. We'll see if they stick with that. They don't, but they earn a point. 3 serving 4. Nice hands and a fist pump from Scott.
I really like to see that, though. I think it's so important to keep the energy high, too. And I would say, I'm not sure if Holly is necessarily the captain, but she's definitely the cheerleader. She's kind of keeping the spirit of the team for Team USA up right now.
Well, I think most people would suggest that she's the better player of the 2. And usually the better players are the captains. Doesn't have to be that way. And I think sometimes there's a mistake there where we just say, well, you're the better player, you be the captain.
You gotta be the lead, but
doesn't mean they make the best decisions in doubles.
And it's a personality type and a game style, and you kind of have to be the leader to be the captain. It doesn't mean you're just the best. Oh.
Munoz in the back, skips it. 5 serving 3. First server. Great pickup. Has to be an avoidable hinder. No argument from Team Ecuador. Another point, 6-3. Oh, goodness. Well, I'm glad she's okay. That could have been really bad. You saw she jumped and just the floor was a little slick and she just went down.
Yeah, that's really tough for these players out there. It might be cold and freezing temperatures in Minneapolis, but it's hot out there on the courts and can get a little slick. Of course, we're glad.
So an avoidable hinder was called there. Okay, so just to clarify what was going on there, Laura, we have line judges available for this match. And so one is on the left of the official, one is on the right of the official. And players have an opportunity to have 2 incorrect appeals during each game. And so if a player doesn't agree with a decision by the head official, they can appeal that. In order for it to be overturned, both line judges must disagree with the official.
Five, 6.
Second server didn't hit the front wall. Look at Munoz over on the right side talking away. She's not happy with herself with what she just did.
Oh.
And she gets hit by her partner.
Might explain some of the bruises on the legs out there.
So we have a side out. So I think she was in the box. I would appeal this if I was Ecuador. They choose not to. I'm surprised. So what they're saying here, you see where Scott is over on the right in that little rectangle. If she's out of that box when the ball hits her on a serve like that, it's a loss of rally. If she stays in the box, it's just a false serve. Good shot, Sarmiento. 6-5, second server. You notice that both Scott and Carver are standing over on that right side. Replay call from our official John Halco from Canada.
That's one of the things about the referee staff. It's important to have a diverse referee staff as well, representing different countries.
And the reason we need that is because officials are not allowed to officiate their country of origin. So in this case, we have a head official and line judge from Canada, and then another line judge from Mexico. It's kind of fun because the officials hope their home country does well in the tournament, because if their home country is competing in the semis and finals, they get a little break and can't ref.
They get the afternoon off. 5 serving 6. Munoz serving. Half out.
Perfect serve. You see that little cement. U.S. is looking for a court hinder. They're going to appeal it. Both. Okay, so you saw a thumb up on the right and a thumb up on the left. Thumbs up mean we agree with the head official. So USA lose an appeal. Yeah, that looked like a skip. Sounded like a skip. And it was a skip.
Puts Ecuador up now 7-6.
Game of runs, doubles. So next time Sarmiento serves, if she does the same serve, let's look at her feet when she starts. Her feet position are very interesting. Not your typical parallel as you see from Carver.
Second serve for Carver.
Great shot, Munoz. Carver, Scott covering the entire court.
Yeah, I don't know if Carver even hit one in that rally for USA.
No, and I mentioned that Scott would be taking the majority of the points. She's playing in her age group in singles, lost in a tiebreaker earlier today, which you saw Carver just playing doubles. 7-7.
Nice efforts from Munoz. Just kind of scooping that in the back of the court and then covering up in the front.
Yeah, I mentioned that both when the Americans are serving that the partner stands over on the left side, and I think it's a deliberate attempt to pick on Sarmiento over on the right because she's the younger player. I'm not convinced she's the weaker player. You know, just because somebody is younger, that's just a mistake, a mental mistake from Carver. See, there goes Carver over back to the left. Let's see what Scott does. Another point, and I'd be calling a timeout for Ecuador. Beautiful from Scott. Navigated her way through two Ecuadorian players to take that ball. Saw them both in the backcourt. Pinched it for a winner.
A little bit of debate there on the Ecuadorian side. There.
I think they were looking for a court hinder.
Yeah, maybe.
Deep sigh from Scott. Returns to the back. 7-10. Ecuador with 2 opportunities to serve. Munoz takes her timeout.
Probably good. That's the first timeout we've seen so far in game 1 by either side.
Just a reminder, we have a couple more matches coming up after this. Both of them boys doubles. We start with the 16s and then we follow with the 18s. Both are USA-Mexico, often result in classic matches. For the Mexican team in 16s, we got Nieto and Fernandez. Fernandez has been crushing the ball this week. I'm sure we'll see him in singles in either tomorrow or Saturday. And then they'll be playing Turner and Singh. We saw them on the stream earlier this week. The reason they're playing Mexico early is because they lost in a tiebreaker to Ecuador a couple days ago, which we streamed. Then in boys 18 doubles, Franco Portillo. Favorites against Rojas and Lee, I would say, but we didn't expect to see them playing against each other so soon. Why? Well, they didn't show up on time for one of their round-robin matches against Guatemala. Guatemala, therefore, earned the win, and so Mexico lose that opportunity for the 1 seed, and now we see a USA-Mexico in the quarterfinals instead of perhaps the final.
And it's my understanding they still played that match. I talked to the members of Team Mexico who said, you know, it was their fault. You know, that was why the match had to forfeit, but they still did go ahead and play and kind of keep that rhythm of at least getting that match under their belt.
Well, I think a lot of these players as well. I was there when they had that discussion about whether to play or not, and it was up to Guatemala because Mexico said, you know, we'd like to. And it's an opportunity for some of these teams to gain experience. If you don't have that match, you're not used to playing with each other, you lose that experience.
That's right.
Flip side, you also have the opportunity to maybe get tired, get injured, something happens, and then you regret playing that match, which was a forfeit. Say, why did I play that? You know, I shouldn't have. I sprained my ankle.
Yes, thankfully that was not the case, though. And nobody was hurt in that extra play.
Carver just kind of flicked at it. She wants that one back. Okay, let's look at Sarmiento's feet. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Look at her feet position.
Yeah, very untraditional, very unusual.
Facing almost to the back. That's a smart shot from Munoz. She saw Scott over on the right side, guided it down the left. 9 serving 10. Yeah, I've never seen that footwork before. So that's where you need to tell your partner, hey, I'm serving over to this side. As soon as I go, either jump or move, because if you stand there, you get hit, it's going to be called an avoidable hinder.
So yeah, Sarmiento maybe starting that service motion by dropping the ball. Scott jumping on that. What is the official rule on that, Tim?
Okay, so the serve begins as soon as you release the ball. And so what some players do is they release the ball, they look back, notice somebody's not ready, i.e. you have your racket up or something like that, and catch it. Well, this is different. The IRF rules state that as soon as the ball leaves the hand, the service motion has begun. You catch it, it's a fault serve. So that was second serve, and it should be a side out. Look at that. The value of an appeal system.
Not only that, but knowing the rules too, I think, you know.
Very good,
Shout out to Holly Scott for saying, hey, no, this is ours.
Yeah, and some coaches don't know that rule.
Yeah.
But it accentuates why we have line judges available from the quarterfinals on, why there's an appeal system, because you can imagine if that call had stood, USA are upset, it affects their play. Instead, what we have is the correct decision made, and we continue.
That's what is so interesting about playing at an international event like this where we do have appeals and support for those referees, because I feel like it really can change that tone or momentum of the game. It doesn't, hopefully some of these players don't get too caught up, but, I guess that just depends on the way the call goes.
Oh, great hands. And again. Diving get. Unlucky, Sarmiento. Terrific play from her. She'd switched over to the left side. As I said, I'm not sure Munoz is the best player. I'm not sure it's a good idea to pick on her, so to speak, Sarmiento. Even though she's younger, she seems to be the one trying to dictate the play. Good example, Munoz puts one in the floor. Suddenly it's side out, 10-9, 5 points away from this first game.
Half out. Holly Scott serving.
That's a good shot from Scott down the right side. Ecuador need a side out. They have a timeout available. U.S. have not used any. They might use one here. Well, maybe a mini timeout. Munoz gathers herself. Big skip from Carver. So, Laura, these matches are really important for the team competition.
Why is that? Break it down, Tim.
The team competition, we obviously have 10, 12, 14, 16, and 18-year-old divisions, but only 14, 16, and 18 count towards the team total. And a big skip from Carver in the back. She got herself caught off the back glass. A point for Ecuador. But the points on where each player and team finishes in each division is added up and calculated to determine which team is the overall best team. We have a boys' best team, a women's best team, and then a combined best team. So for the last couple of years, it's been Mexico. Ouch, oof. That's going to leave a mark.
Goodness, she's already gotten hit a couple times in this match.
She needs a timeout. Now that can be an injury timeout because she came into contact with the ball. So it doesn't have to be Ecuador's timeout. But oof. You can see Scott, I think an avoidable hinder was given there, and I'm not sure that was the correct call because it was very left. Again, it's difficult to make that decision so quickly from the perspective of an official, and I'm sure if we polled 100 of them, we wouldn't get consensus.
Too bad we don't have that on a replay to show everyone at home.
So if this is an injury timeout, USA are entitled to come out of the court. Injury timeouts are 15 minutes total. So you can get an injury and spend 3 minutes on that injury, go back in the court, have another injury, and you're entitled to get up to 12 minutes for that injury, et cetera, et cetera. So you can theoretically have several injuries as long as your injury timeouts don't exceed 15 minutes.
But it would have to be a different injury, right? Like you couldn't go back on the court and say, you know what? It still hurts from that time the ball hit me. Can I reactivate my injury timeout?
Exactly. And we've seen people try that before. I'm still, and then they start to drag out the match because I'm going to use my 2 minutes here and 3 minutes here and 4 minutes here. No, it doesn't work like that.
It's for every fresh injury, and a total of 15.
Exactly. One of the other interesting refereeing rules here as part of the IRF is that players can be asked to change their shirts or any kind of equipment if it's perceived to be affecting the play in terms of being wet, making the floor slippery, delaying the game, etc. And they can ask them to change that at any time.
That's one of my favorite rules, Tim, just because we do see some opportunities that people take to slow down the game. And so if it's a matter of a wet court, it's not only a safety problem, but we don't want anything to, really slow down the game too much, at least from a spectator's point of view.
And Ecuador tied up 12-12. You saw Carver lunging at the ball. Didn't move her feet. Skipped it into the front wall. Replay called. You can see how confidently Scott walks up. Anytime there's a potential for an avoidable hinder, okay, there's a great example of where players can improve, and I see this a lot, particularly in the juniors. Sarmiento had an opportunity to hit that ball right at the encroachment line off the short hop. Instead, she let it bounce to go all the way to the back wall and then made the error. The problem with that is you allow your opponent to get back into position, and this becomes more obvious, especially in singles. You want to take that ball early while your opponent is out of position from wherever they hit that shot, getting you to take advantage of where they are. If you let the ball bounce, run to the backcourt, suddenly your opponent is able to get back into that middle position. Replay called. 2 points away from this first game.
Carver serves. Wow. Puts USA now in their first game point position.
See, I'd like to see Ecuador take their second timeout. The odds are in their favor when they take a timeout. About 75% success rate from my estimation. Miscommunication.
They almost missed it.
They get away with it. And it's a skip. Wow, they got lucky. Oh no, slides off the wall. Munoz not able to hit that front wall. I don't think she's too happy right now. She got pegged by a ball. She's already been hit this week, as you've seen. Look, so we're going to take a quick timeout. and we're going to come back for game 2. What a great start to this match. U.S. take the first 15-12. And we're back for the resumption of game 2. The U.S. took it 15-12. It was 12-12 at one point. And a good start from Carver. She struggled in game 1. Similar to the girls' 16 doubles, one American seems to be the captain and kind of controlling the points, and the other one, their real role is to keep the ball alive, don't make too many mistakes, and let the other one shoot. And that's what's happening in that rally. You could see Carver not too offensive, letting Scott dictate the points. First serve for the first point for the Americans. Probably a good call. Holly Scott was clear. I mean, Munoz was clear. Safety hold up. Lob serve. It's a good one. And Munoz says she couldn't see. Well, they have 2 appeals. Sometimes they don't use them, not being familiar with this process or remembering to make that appeal. And that's beautiful. A little fist pump from the right-sided Ecuadorian player, Sarmiento. And again, another pinch. Little miscommunication between the American pair. Wow, great shot, Holly Scott. Much better. Look at Munoz, fist pump. She needs to get energized. She was pretty flat in game 1, didn't do too much beyond return the ball to the front wall. Sarmiento is the one who's trying to make shots. A point given. I'm not sure why. Maybe he's calling an avoidable hinder. John Hauko is our Canadian referee. The U.S. team just trying to clarify why. It looked like just a replay, so the U.S. will appeal. Both line judges disagree. You saw the thumbs go down just on the edge of your screens, which means the officials' ruling is overturned and we have a replay. 1 serving 2. Again, highlighting the value of this appeal system. Wow.
Ties it up 2-2. Sarmiento. Wow, a diving get from Scott. Then kind of in the way for Sarmiento, and a point, unavoidable.
This is what Ecuador needed. They needed a good start. They're up by a couple. They can gain some momentum here. That will really help them as they try to get into, wow, a replay. Look at Holly Scott. Very dramatic. She's going to appeal. Unavoidable.
Worth going for the appeal.
So we've had 3 calls in this match overturned. And again, if you don't have that appeal system in place, it could really affect the players on the court. And then suddenly the referee becomes the bad guy, so to speak.
I think they're always the bad guy, right?
Not when you are one, Laura. We really do appreciate all the efforts that
of the bad guys.
Officials.
Yeah, no, definitely the officials. Thank you.
Contribute to this tournament. The IRF has done so much over the last 5 years to transform this sport into something very visible for an audience, including official referees who come to these tournaments, are trained, who go through education on a regular basis. And as a consequence, what we see is we see good decisions being made. We see trust in judgments rather than constant questioning. And it's really improved how the match progresses. The matches are even faster because we have less arguing, less discussion, and it makes it, wow, did you just see that?
She's had some incredible little gets there. We saw that from her in the 16 doubles. We saw it from her here now.
Point USA. They take the lead, 5-4.
Oh, another between the legs from Sarmiento.
It's her favorite shot, I think. Ecuador are appealing. Seven serving 4. Second serve. Munoz struggling on the left side. She's limping a little bit, you can see, Laura, and I think it's probably from being hit earlier in game 1.
Yeah, she got hit a couple times in game 1. The last one, though, looked the worst.
And a skip again. 9-4. Ecuador need a timeout. Munoz just seems out of sort. The coaches were telling her to appeal, and she's not. Now she is. Line judges agree, so appeal in many ways wasted. They only have two incorrect appeals at least. Great serve. Yeah, Ecuador they're losing it. They are going to take this timeout. It's their first. They have 2. You can see over to the right, head coach Felipe Mercado is going to sit them down and talk to them. Over to the left, it looks like Robbie Collins is the USA's coach for this match. Also, Bobby Horn watches on. Both of them are assistant coaches to Charlie Pratt.
Coming up after this, we have 2 more doubles matches to round out our evening. It's the 16 doubles and the 18 doubles for the boys. It'll both feature USA and Mexico. Those should be some very exciting matchups. First up, we have Nieto and Fernandez from Mexico taking on Turner and Singh. That's in the 16 boys doubles. And the 18 boys doubles features Franco and Portillo from Mexico and Rojas and Lee. There are 12 countries represented this weekend at the 29th Junior World Championship. We have USA and Ecuador out on the court, but also Argentina, Bolivia, Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, Guatemala, Honduras, Ireland, Korea, and Mexico.
Uh-oh.
What happened there to Sarmiento? Looks like she was hit.
Sarmiento gets
She's in a
hit.
lot of pain.
Yeah. Looks like her knee, though. Well, again, this is where I would take my injury timeout. She's clearly not moving very well.
Looks like the line judges were split on that appeal, too. So it's 10 serving 4.
Little fist pump from Munoz. They can do this. They just need to get some momentum. They seem a little down. They're a bit hurt.
Yeah, physically.
You know, just yeah, physically, but also mentally as well. They need to be positive and remember that their job really is to hit it to the weaker player and force the weaker player to make the shots rather than continuing to allow Scott to hit it. This is better. And there's Scott. Look at the shot she just hit. Backhand pinch winner. Great serve.
Oh, that ball skipped. Five serving 10.
Nice from Munoz. A couple points now.
Brings them to
6-10.
6-10. Nobody home. A little bit of confusion out there. Side out for USA.
One was in front of the other rather than side to side. So here we're having some discussion between the Ecuadorian players. Let's go. This Munoz to her partner. It's a bit wild. Wow. Beautiful shot. Holly Scott. Reverse pinch. Takes it on the forehand. Hits it across her body. Left side wall, front wall. Side out, 11-6. 4 points away from this match. And a place in the semifinals. Wow.
Another between the legs.
She loves that
She
shot.
does. She's good at it. Oh.
She gets one, half out.
11 serving 6. Second server, Holly Scott for USA.
And a complete miss. The Bermuda wall, Laura, slides down there. One of the things that players need to understand, and if they haven't played on this court, the ball spins differently when it hits that glass as opposed to the cement. The cement, it tends to slide. The glass, it tends to stick.
Pick the 11 second server.
Ecuador, one in front of the other. Great pickup from Carver.
Down the line, my favorite. Puts USA at 12-6. First server. It's a good position for USA right now.
3 points away.
Yeah, so close to closing out this match. Oh.
Hits the back wall and speeds up off it. Carver not able to get there. Half out. Still USA serving. Can they close this out? Oh my goodness. Again, a little miscommunication between Ecuador.
13-6 USA.
You saw Munoz facing the back wall. She's done that ever since she was for the last 3 years that I've seen her. She's done that. She uses it to compose herself. Let's see if it works.
Oh, big skip for Carver.
An example of having to hit a backhand when you've been hitting so many forehands.
Big skip from Carver. It's 2 in a row, but this one is a point for Ecuador. 7-13.
Great pickup, Munoz. But look at that, Holly Carver.
Nice.
You notice when they served, Holly Scott, not Carver, Holly Carver. Scott switched over to take that serve. And a drive serve doesn't necessarily allow you the time to do that. So let's see if they switch over on this lob serve. They do.
Yep.
Oh,
Almost
maybe they didn't.
miscommunicated.
Wow, they got lucky there. Miscommunication, but they get away with it. Side out, 2 points away from this match.
13-7. Carver serves. Lob to Sarmiento.
Match point number 1. Ecuador have a timeout on the board they haven't used.
Match point numero uno.
Munoz with a great recovery. And Holly Scott gives her partner Carver a hug. They're in the semifinals after defeating Ecuador 15-12, 15-7.